What's good? It's Wood. I hope everybody is out there beating the heat. I know I'm not beating the heat. In fact, I think I'm down on the scorecards like 7 rounds to 4 heading into the 12th, and I'm calling the heat over to the middle of the ring, like fight me in the middle of the ring. The heat's just looking at me, sticking its tongue out like it's already got the fight in the bag. So that's where I'm at with the heat. But the AC right now, it's helping. But I wanted to react to kind of I would say a half report. Like, it's not an official fight, and in fact it's not even finalized, but the Boxing Voice reported that this fight between Regis Prograis and Devin Haney for Regis Prograis' WBC belt. This would obviously be Devin Haney's 140-pound debut, but I think it was the Boxing Voice that said that this fight was going to take place, I think, on December 9th at the Chase Center. That's where the Golden State Warriors play. So that's in the Bay Area. Devin Haney is a Oakland native. I know that he, spent a lot of time in Las Vegas, but Las Vegas, Bay Area, Oakland, that could all be considered Devin Haney's hometown. So this was all reported by the Boxing Voice, but then Boxing Scene came out and confirmed that the date, the venue, none of these things are signed and agreed to. So this is not a finalized fight. This is not an official fight. In fact, I wonder when I see certain half reports like this, whether one party kind of put it out there to get the, to induce the other side to sign the contract due to, public awareness building up. So, I always wonder, ulterior motives wise, who's putting this out there if it's not like an official agreement. So look, that's not to say that this fight isn't about to be signed or won't soon be official. I'm just saying that this is a couple steps short of that, because usually you'll see things like, the fight is agreed in principle or something like that, and then later on you might see that things are finalized, but even finalized sometimes suggests that it's not signed, sealed, delivered, and official. So look, we're not totally there yet, but it does appear like we're on track to that fight being made. And if it is in fact made, that would be fantastic. And even better if it is in the Bay Area. I think I would try to get tickets to attend Regis Prograis versus Devin Haney if it is going to take place in the Bay Area. I attended Regis Prograis versus Jose Zepeda. That was in Carson, California. But yeah, let's talk a little bit. I just want to get into the weeds a little bit with this hypothetical, until proven otherwise, but this, this fight that's being planned out between Regis Prograis, the champ, and Devin Haney, the undisputed lightweight champ, who's now coming up to 140. Regis Prograis is kind of on the warning track in terms of, hey, you got to strike now and have a legacy defining fight or a mega payday. Because while Regis Prograis is respected in the game, Devin Haney's been making the right business moves pretty much since he entered the game. Like the fact that he's got the flexibility to not have to sign with DAZN to be able to have a DAZN platform fight. So he's a bit of a free agent where the scheduling of fights is almost on a fight-by-fight basis. That's pretty much like best case scenario if you're a fighter, assuming you've got enough pull to be able to get paid what you want to get paid and guarantees and so forth out of it. He's in a remarkable spot, and he's not even the most bankable fighter near that division. It's, undoubtedly Gervonta Davis. You could argue that, Ryan Garcia is still a bigger draw, and then it's arguable whether Teofimo Lopez might be as big or a bigger draw. But just in terms of the moves that Devin Haney has been making, not to mention he's among the most accomplished out of any of these guys, being the undisputed champion at lightweight, even if he got his undisputed status through fights with Zayor Abdullayev and then later on against George Kambosos. So he didn't have to beat Teofimo Lopez or Vasily Lomachenko to become undisputed, but obviously most recently he had that showdown with Vasily Lomachenko that resulted in a decision win for Devin Haney. But it would be an understatement to say that that decision win was controversial. I thought that he won something like 115 to 113 or 116 to 112, but you've got a sizable amount of the public that saw it otherwise. And I actually would say that more than 50% of fight fans who saw the fight thought that Vasily Lomachenko won the fight. So even if I thought that Devin Haney won the fight, if we're scoring it round by round, what we saw in rounds 1 through 12 individually, round by round, I thought Devin Haney won, but I'll still respect the fact that a lot of y'all don't. It was a close and competitive fight. But in Devin Haney going up to 140 and then making his debut against Regis Prograis, who to me had his best career win 2 fights ago, that fight in Carson against Jose Zepeda, because let's keep it real, people don't stop Jose Zepeda. You know what I mean? Like, Jose Ramirez won a close, razor thin, also you could argue a controversial decision win against Jose Zepeda a few years ago. Jose Zepeda had been involved in like the fight of the year against Ivan Baranchyk that resulted in like several knockdowns over the course of like 5 rounds, and Jose Zepeda ended up scoring one of the knockouts of the year in that same fight against Ivan Baranchyk. Ivan Baranchyk to me hasn't been the same since. But all that to say, Jose Zepeda is a very competitive fighter, and people kind of saw him as like a top 5, top 3 to top 5-ish 140 pounder. Well, Regis Prograis stopped him late last year, and then Regis Prograis had a much less inspiring win against Zorrilla a couple months ago. This was a fight that was very controversial as well. A lot of people thought that Zorrilla might have won a decision in that one, but it was just a very tough fight. One for Regis Prograis to win, but also to look good, nearly as good as he did against Jose Zepeda in that fight against Zorrilla. So yeah, that wasn't the most flattering of fights if you're trying to build up Regis Prograis stock. So a lot of things change opinion-wise sometimes with one fight. So maybe when Regis Prograis was on the heels of that win, that stoppage win over Jose Zepeda, maybe a lot of the public thought, hey, this might be a bridge too far, too soon for Devin Haney to go up and to make that your divisional debut against the WBC champ, Regis Prograis, whose only loss is a close decision against prime Josh Taylor. I mean, Regis Prograis was in one of those scenarios where he's a respected elite fighter who can't score any of the important opponents and get them in the ring with him. Like, he was just having difficulty securing big fights. And, he was kind of free agent-ish. Like, he was working with Pro Bellum, who's now defunct, like pretty much out of the game, because of, a lot of their ties with, Daniel Kinahan and MTK, and all of that got ugly. So it's like, damn, Regis Prograis really just can't catch a break in terms of securing the big fights. And then he, ended up having fights against like Tyrone McKenna, more opponents that aren't really going to do what you need done to catapult your name and to lure those big names in the ring with you. But that stoppage over Jose Zepeda did that for Regis Prograis, both because of the quality of the win, the way that he won, the quality of the opponent, and because now he's got a WBC 140-pound title. So it's like, okay, now you are a 2-time belt holder in the division. So yeah, I would say that a lot of people would have thought that this was a bridge too far for Devin Haney, but because Devin Haney fought, the fight that he fought against Lomachenko, and he wasn't so jab heavy. I mean, that fight against Loma, that was a fight. Whatever you thought about who won the fight, Devin Haney showed a lot of people that he's not just some jab-heavy, distance controller, round winner. No, he's got a lot of dog in him, and he went to Lomachenko's body. He absorbed some punishment, came back and ended up probably winning that 12th round, which, at least according to the judges, that's what kind of sealed the deal for Devin Haney. The fact that he had a difficult, round 10, round 11, and then responded in the way that he did in round 12, that says a lot about the man, right? So Regis Prograis, because of his difficulty in fighting Zorrilla, I think that a lot of people are now saying, well, damn, Devin Haney, we know how he uses his range. We know that he's got, pretty athletic legs and the ability to control range. Him and Regis Prograis are about the same height. I mean, they're both listed at about 5'7". You could argue that maybe I'd have to see them face off to really see who's got the edge height-wise. But I'm thinking, sometimes in a fighter's career, especially if they come into the game super young, they might start off listed at like 5'7", and then several fights into their career, a few years later, they might be listed at 5'8". And I think that that's what's been going on with Devin Haney. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a shade taller than Regis Prograis, but he definitely has a reach advantage. Regis Prograis' arms are a little short, even a little short proportionally for his body. Like, you've got people who are about his height, like Floyd Mayweather, who will have longer reaches than Regis Prograis has. So he actually has to use his legs to get into range. Whereas, the guys with the longer arms, Terrence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather, Devin Haney, they're able to actually play the range game. Say, hey, this distance thing works out for me. You're going to have to use your legs and use your activity to come in to get into punching range and get quality shots off against me. I think that might really be a significant thing when it comes to Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis, or should I say Regis Prograis versus Devin Haney, since Regis Prograis is the divisional champ at where this fight will be held, if it is in fact to be made. But couple that reach advantage and the style that Devin Haney likes to fight, if he's not fighting somebody like a Lomachenko who's able to make this a non-distance fight, who's gonna make you kind of fight him. Even though I thought Devin Haney did a pretty solid job at controlling range and winning the tit for tat at range boxing match against the great Lomachenko. I thought Devin Haney did pretty well in that regard, especially through like the first 5 to 6 rounds. But Regis Prograis is also like in his mid-30s now. I need to check again, but is he what, 34? Maybe even 35? But at least 34. So he's not a spring chicken. Like, you could kind of see the difficulty that he had in closing range against Zorrilla. And Zorrilla is not Devin Haney, but I mean, granted, Devin Haney has not yet competed in this division, so we don't know how well he's going to be able to maintain his pop, or at whatever pop he did have at 135. Might he potentially even be a harder puncher at 140? We don't know that. We know that he's supposedly had a lot of difficulty in recent fights making weight at 135. He just looked like very sucked in the actual weigh-ins, for the last couple of fights now. So who knows? Maybe he's going to perform even better at 140. Like, I think Shakur Stevenson is arguably at his best, right now at 135, just judging. I mean, it's only one fight that we've had to look at, but sometimes when guys go up in weight, they actually benefit from not having to cut so many pounds. I wonder if that's going to be the case for Devin Haney. If it is, then I think that Regis Prograis really got his work cut out for him, because again, it might work well in the earlier rounds when your legs are still fresh, to be able to kind of jump in and throw that southpaw stance, left hand, and then try to mix it up and be able to break off some combinations against Devin Haney. Because I think that that's what Regis Prograis gonna want to make this fight, where it's gonna be highly combustible when they have those moments where 3+ punches can fly at a time. I don't think Regis Prograis necessarily wants to make this a 1 punch per exchange affair, or even 1 to 2 punches. I think he's going to want to get 3+ punches off against Devin Haney. Not to say that Prograis can't catch Devin Haney with some nice left hands or even right hooks at range. I mean, that's all possible. But I think that Regis Prograis is going to want to make Devin Haney fight in the way that Lomachenko did. I think that that's the goal here. And that's not even to say that Devin Haney can't pull off a victory fighting that kind of fight against Regis Prograis. But you would think that that type of fight best suits Regis Prograis, with his shorter arms and with his older legs. Kind of make Devin Haney come to you a little bit, rather than Devin Haney moving around the perimeter and you having to kind of close those last few inches to get within range. That would be tough. And I mean, if Devin Haney could control the fight to that degree, he should probably do so and better his chances at winning a decision, largely behind the jab. But Devin Haney puts things behind it at times as well. But I think that would be the type of fight Devin Haney would want. Not to mention, we don't know if Devin Haney is going to be able to take Regis Prograis' power. Like, I think that Regis Prograis will be able to take, I suspect, should be able to take some clean punches from Devin Haney. Not that Devin Haney's pillow-fisted, but he's not a knockout artist in the way that Regis Prograis has proven to be. He stopped Tyrone McKenna. He stopped Kirill Relic in arguably his other best career win back in the day, a few years ago. He stopped Jose Zepeda. I mean, Regis Prograis could thump. I think he stopped Ivan Redkach. Regis Prograis can crack at 140. We know that much. So I think that this is going to be the hardest puncher that Devin Haney has fought. Yes, Jorge Linares packs a punch, but Jorge Linares got smoked out by Pablo Cesar Cano, you know, when he tried to flirt with 140 a few years back. And Pablo Cesar Cano doesn't hit like Regis Prograis. So yeah, this is going to be the hardest puncher Devin Haney has fought. So before we think that, you know, Devin Haney's like Mr. Fundamental and is just going to be able to control range and fight a Devin Haney type fight and win a decision against Regis Prograis, I'm thinking, damn, Regis Prograis is able to let his punches go in most fights that I've seen him in, Zarria fight notwithstanding. But again, if Devin Haney doesn't adhere to that type of blueprint, and this ends up being like not a phone booth style fight, but has more phone booth moments, then Devin Haney might have his hands absolutely full. I wouldn't be surprised if Regis Prograis hurts Devin Haney in that case. But, you know, every time I think I've got Devin Haney pegged and start thinking, okay, well, maybe Devin Haney loses against, I don't know, Jojo Diaz for these reasons, or maybe against Linares for these other reasons, or maybe, like, think about what the expectations were heading into the first fight between then champion George Kambosos and Devin Haney. Like, a lot of people thought that George Kambosos might win that fight. They were unsure, including myself, who had the hand speed advantage. And, you know, Kambosos has a pretty fan-friendly style, plus the fight was in Australia. So a lot of people, if you look at even the betting odds, this wasn't a foregone conclusion that Devin Haney was going to box Kambosos' ears off. It wasn't until we saw Devin Haney win like a 9 rounds to 3, 10 rounds to 2 type of fight. I mean, damn what the scorecards actually read. We saw that fight, that first fight between Kambosos and Haney. That was non-competitive. It looked like a 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3 type of fight. So that fight, in my opinion, changed the perception and the public's opinion on what was possible with Devin Haney. The fact that he could just beat Kambosos that thoroughly, that easily, yeah, it's almost like you've got to kind of adjust whatever ceiling you had for Devin Haney, because again, that was non-competitive, and the betting odds suggested that this was a very competitive fight. And he didn't do it once, he beat him that badly twice, just as badly the second time around. So again, every time I think that I've got Devin Haney pegged and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this guy's going to have more success because of this and this and this, Devin Haney then exceeds expectations once again. But yeah, I can't wait to dive deeper into this matchup when this fight is actually finalized and official and announced, and we've got a date and we've got a venue. Again, I'm hoping for the Bay Area. Let's go. But yeah, let me know what your earliest thoughts are on Regis Prograis versus Devin Haney in the comments. Boy, I hope they make this fight. I hope business doesn't ruin this fight, because I can imagine, you know, Devin Haney got his financial needs, and even though Regis Prograis is the champion, I'm assuming that Devin Haney is calling most of the shots negotiation-wise. I could be wrong, but that's just how I kind of read the tea leaves, given both of these guys' boxing business history. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments, please. And by the way, this would be platformed on DAZN, largely because, again, Devin Haney's a free agent, so he could work with Eddie Hearn, whom Regis Prograis signed to recently. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.